So Marvel just made another desperate move with Fantastic Four into an even more cringe manner in the worst way. And the box office itself his show has, as you all know, will be even lower. Now Pedro Pascal is the worst possible face to put in front of Fantastic Four at this point. And instead of just, selling the movie, he's simply just dragging the Fantastic Four into just another round of tired culture war politics. Now, Marvel thinks propping him up will fix everything, but it's only making people more frustrated with basically where the Fantastic Four is actually heading. Okay, so from comics getting rewritten to just match the movie itself to Sue Storm slightly taking over the team. Well, I mean, it's actually clear that Marvel doesn't really care about what fans actually want. Now, the focus itself is not the story, it's actually the agenda. But the reality is that Pedro Pascal has had success. You see, that's more than what Rachel Zegler can say, and where she's flopped almost every time. But whether Pedro is actually a draw or just a manufactured brand will be tested when Fantastic Four drops, okay? So right now, we don't even have a real reaction to this thing. All we've got is just a tight embargo schedule that looks like they're hiding something. Now, July 21st is when the social media embargo lifts and reviews don't even, come out until July 22nd, right before the premiere. Okay, so that right there doesn't really sound like confidence to me. That's damage control at this point. And with Pedro Pascal's latest press nonsense, it doesn't help that the actual story of the movie seems just as confused and desperate. You see, they're already changing the Fantastic Four comics just to go ahead and line up with this movie. That's always a sign of panic. Now, Marvel used to lead with comics, and now the books get twisted just to go ahead and sell whatever Hollywood is actually cooking. Now, in the new Fantastic Four #1, Sue Storm is suddenly the leader. Not because it makes sense, not because, it fits any legacy, but because the movie says so. And Reed Richards gets demoted right off the panel. Okay, so it's never explained, it's just done. You see, she's now the head of the team. In her own words, I'll lead the team. We're the Fantastic Four, and that's just the new message right there. Doesn't matter what or who came before. Now, I haven't even touched the modern Fantastic Four comic in at all. I don't have any interest because most of what Marvel publishes today is just hot garbage. And there are a few exceptions, I'll admit, but the bulk of it is just unreadable. But DC has been more consistent lately, especially with those, in those compact format books and stuff. I mean, they're cheaper, they don't try too hard, and somehow they just stick to what works. Now, Marvel keeps rebooting where new #1s over and over. Just slap a #1 on the cover just to go ahead and boost sales temporarily, and then tank again within 6 issues. It's just a cycle, and it's pathetic at this point. Now, Fantastic Four title has been rebooted more times than anyone can even count, okay? And it's always, for the same reason, because quite put simply, the sales are bad. But the weirdest part of all of this is how desperate the Fantastic Four film script sounds behind the scenes. Now, supposedly, they've written it so that Sue Storm and the female Silver Surfer are stuck together and guided by Sue to go ahead and defeat Galactus. The men, on the other hand, including Reed Richards, are just along for the ride itself. They're just background noise at this point. Now, if that's true, well, then it explains why so many actors passed on the Reed Richards role. No one wants to play a neutered, irrelevant version of a classic character. But for Pedro Pascal, he's Mr. being comfortable being led by a woman. That's perfect. He fits that watered down version basically like a glove, okay? So what's even crazier is how these movie rewrites bleed back into the comics. And they're not even pretending with this stuff. You see, the Fantastic Four team in the comic books and stuff are now mirroring what was we're getting in the film. Sue's in charge, Logic and Cannon are boxed out by her force field, and Reed just vanishes as a leader, and they expect us to cheer for it. They act like this is just some sort of evolution of the franchise, but in reality, no one was asking for this in the first place. Now, fans don't want Sue Storm to become the new face of the Fantastic Four. They just wanted a good story. And instead, Marvel is just feeding them a bunch of ideological rewrites. Now, Pedro Pascal decided that the red carpet was the right time to go ahead and get political again. And this time, he turned the Fantastic Four premiere that happened this week into a big soapbox for activism for the Google community. He gave a speech about protecting a brave and inspiring community and talked about rights and humanity like he was accepting an Oscar. Okay, so none of this had anything to do with the movie itself. Okay, nothing about Reed Richards, nothing about Galactus, just a bunch of virtue signaling that will dominate headlines and just instead of just the plot details. Okay, now when Rachel Zegler did this with Snow White, Disney tried to go ahead and silence it, but for Pedro, he's allowed to speak freely, no matter how off topic or divisive he gets without any hesitation. Okay. Now, right now he's playing by a different set of rules. You see, no one checks him. No studio rep pulls him aside. He can just go ahead and hijack the entire Fantastic Four rollout and no one says a word. Why? Because Marvel and Disney think that he's the brand now. And if they think Pedro Pascal will actually carry this movie across the finish line. But this is not The Mandalorian. It's not 2019. You see, people are not blindly worshiping celebrity activists anymore. And Pedro getting preachy at a Fantastic Four premiere just continues to go ahead and do the same thing, just alienates regular people. It adds more noise to a movie that's already buried in questions, okay? But quite frankly, Entertainment Weekly ran a puff piece on Pedro Pascal recently where they included his full trans rights speech. And it wasn't even a question of, if he get political. It was just a matter of when. Okay, so his speech rambled on about people asking to go ahead and exist in bodies that they never chose, about courage and about inspiration. But what people want to know is whether Reed Richards actually uses his powers for anything in this movie. Now, do we even get a smart or capable scientist leading the charge, or just another passive sidekick standing next to stronger women? I mean, based on what we're hearing, he's just there to support Sue and the Lady Silver Surfer. That's just the new Disney Marvel formula. Okay, so to top it off, Pedro Pascal's trans sister is now throwing his name into the hat to go ahead and play Jean Grey. Let's go ahead and just turn the X-Men reboot into just another box checking exercise. But if Pedro's got pull, I mean, maybe she'll land the part, or nothing would surprise me anymore if he gets it. Everyone in Hollywood bends over backwards to kiss his behind, but if they hand over Jean Grey to him and his circle don't say you didn't see it coming. Now, the Fantastic Four mess is just a warm up for Marvel, and they have this whole list of legacy characters that they're ready to reassign or simply erase. Now, as for the box office, no clue where this lands. You see, we haven't gotten any new tracking updates since June, but back then they were expecting Fantastic Four to go ahead and debut somewhere between 125 million and 155 million domestically. Added another 100 million international, and you're looking at a $225 million opening if they hit the low end. Okay, I mean, honestly, that's not great. That's the floor right there. Marvel used to laugh at numbers like that, and now they pray for them. Okay, so it tells you everything about how far this franchise is actually falling, especially under Kevin Feige. Now compare that to Superman, which was predicted to open between 140 and 185 million dollars around the same time. It might end up doing better, even though, that movie has its own baggage. Now, the big difference here is the audience interest. Kids might want to, go ahead and see Superman multiple times, but there's a shot at merchandising where Crypto the dog would become the next Baby Yoda or something. Repeat viewings, toy sales, that kind of momentum can carry a movie. I mean, honestly, Fantastic Four doesn't have that. But what are they going to sell? a Franklin Richards plush, a box of force fields or something. But the truth is, Marvel has boxed itself into a corner where their toys don't sell, their characters don't connect, and kids don't even care about, the new Eternals or Riri Williams or whoever else they're trying to start shoving down our throats. Now, the only people buying Marvel merchandise are now adult collectors, and even they're starting to check out. The Fantastic Four isn't, offering anything exciting anymore. You see, it just looks like another filler entry to go ahead and prop up a tired cinematic universe. No spark, no identity, just recycled CGI and forced dynamics at this point. But what this really comes down to is second week performance. Opening weekend is the only part of the equation now. But if the Fantastic Four drops hard in week 2, well, it's over for Superman. And same thing goes to Superman. If neither of those movies can hold an audience past the initial hype, then the superhero movies are finished at this point. It'll be just the final confirmation that the golden age is done. Okay, so yeah, people are just simply tired of this stuff. They've been burned too many times. If Fantastic Four and Superman both bomb, the studios will have to go ahead and just pivot at this point. Okay, so yeah, DC hasn't really released much lately, just Penguin and Joker on the horizon. And before that it was Aquaman 2 that flopped after they announced the universe was dead and stuff, and that left the door wide open, for Marvel to pop up Fantastic Four to step in with something bold and stuff. But instead, Marvel just gave us more of the same. A gender swap Silver Surfer, Sue Storm as a team leader, Pedro Pascal grandstanding about gender politics and stuff, and the Fantastic Four story that's from an alternate universe. That's what they're betting on at this point. Not story, not characters, not even legacy. Just more identity headlines. Okay. So the Fantastic Four used to mean something. It was about science fiction, adventure, a team built on family, and exploration. But what we're getting now is just studio garbage with a political lecture stapled to it. Now, Marvel can spin it however they want. But if this movie bombs, they've got no one to blame but themselves. Now, honestly, no one asked for a Sue Storm rewrite. No one demanded a female Silver Surfer. They're just doing this because they actually think that, well, they have no other choice. But when you alienate your core audience, you don't get the chance to fix it. Okay, so let me know your thoughts with this in the comments below. Be sure to smash the like button, share the video far wide across social media, subscribe to the channel, turn on that bell for future uploads notification, join my Discord server, and I see you all in the next one. Until then, peace.